A nuclear power plant in the middle of the fighting in Ukraine was temporarily knocked offline because of damage to a transmission line, and it caused a blackout in the region today. It heightened fears of a catastrophe in a country still haunted by the Chernobyl disaster. The plant has been occupied by Russian forces since the early days of the war, you'll remember. Now, Ukraine says Russia is essentially holding this plant hostage, storing weapons there, launching attacks from around it. But Russia accuses Ukraine of recklessly firing on it. So we're going to bring in retired Major General William Inyart. Thank you so much for being with us, General. Is there concern about nuclear fallout, with Russia disconnecting this Zaporizhzhia power plant from the country's power grid?
Well, absolutely, there should be concern about it. As you pointed out, the Chernobyl disaster took place in the late 80s in Ukraine, and it was the largest nuclear disaster in the world. And radioactivity from that accident spewed all over Western Europe. Should there be a release at Zaporizhzhia, the same thing could happen. In fact, it would be far worse. We've seen Putin violate virtually all international norms with an unprovoked attack on a friendly neighbor, with his relentless attacks on civilians and his attacks in targeted assassinations. So I think we have to expect the worst from Putin with him holding this nuclear power plant. The only mitigating factor at this point is that he wants to steal the power, the energy generated at that plant, and send it into Russia. But if his goal would change and he decided that all he wants to do is turn the power off to Ukraine, all bets are off in regards to that plan.
Well, so Ukraine's President Zelensky, he spoke on the phone today with our president, President Biden. The two did talk about the situation there at the Zaporizhzhia power plant. Is it something the U.S. military could potentially get involved in?
Well, I don't see the U.S. military getting involved at this point. Only if there would be an attack on a NATO ally, which of course would trigger Article 5 of the NATO treaty. That is, that an attack on one is an attack on all. Or if there were a direct attack by Russia on U.S. forces, would the U.S. military get involved? Frankly, Putin doesn't want to add the NATO and the U.S. militaries to the forces he's already facing in Ukraine. Russia is no match for NATO and the U.S. and Ukraine added together.
All right, Major General William Inyart, thank you, as always. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.